All right, gang, we are live. Come on in. Come one and all. Great to have you guys. Hope you're all doing well this evening. I wanted to do a quick live stream with you tonight. I've been getting lots of emails on how things really are shaping up here in such a way that it does look like things are about to explode in a good way, in a very, very good way for sure. Things are about to explode. Things are about to blow. And I want to give you the heads up on what to look for in the next few days. So come on in, everybody. Come on in. Great to see you all. I hope you're all getting ready for a wonderful Christmas as we allow people to come on into our room here. Hope you're having a wonderful Advent or season leading up to Christmas. This has been a crazy year, so this Christmas, I think, is more wonderful than ever. Hug your kids harder than ever, that kind of thing. Or just 9 days away. So I do hope you're all having a wonderful Advent period. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got developments going on in Washington, D.C. We've got developments going on in Wisconsin. We've got major movement in Arizona. Things are getting hot in Michigan. Maybe I should have switched those. Things are getting hot in Arizona, as they always are, and things are moving in Michigan, in Georgia, yes, even in Pennsylvania. Do not take your eyes off of Pennsylvania. Judge Sam Alito will not let you do that. And again, it's all circling back to DC. So things are really about to get real here. And I want to give you a basic outline of what to keep your eyes on in the days ahead. First, I do want to invite all of you to our exclusive online Q&A that we're holding tomorrow night, December 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for all of our Insiders Club members. It's exclusive to Insiders Club members, but you are all invited. So if you're not part of the Insiders Club, all you need to do is just click on the link down below in the pinned comment section. You can sign up. And as a special incentive, as a Christmas gift, you might say, we're going to give you your first 2 weeks absolutely free. You're going to get your first 2 weeks absolutely free. It's a free 2-week trial, so that you can be part of the Q&A tomorrow night, and you can ask me your questions directly. We do this every week. So our live Q&A is a great way to get acquainted with our censorship-free Insiders Club, right? We put this Insiders Club together as a hedge against the censorship from the big tech oligarchs that we've been seeing all around us. And so you get access, direct access to me every week. You even get to help me put together the content of our videos. On Sunday evenings, I do a Facebook live stream where I give you a heads up on all the videos that I'm preparing for the coming week, and you give me your input and insight into things. So you help me put together these videos. Insiders Club members are the heart and soul of this channel. And of course, it's totally censorship free. We can talk about anything on the Insiders Club, which we can't do, unfortunately, here on YouTube. So make sure to click on that link below, become an Insiders member with your first 2 weeks absolutely free. That offer is fading away. So make sure to take advantage of it right away. That offer is fading away. So take advantage of it. And I'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, for a live Q&A. All right, so let's dive right in here. We've got, in many ways, a perfect storm brewing here. So let me break it all down for you. Let's start with what's going on in D.C. right now as we speak. Now, if you weren't able to see my first video today, or I'll just give you a quick summary, Republicans are indeed rising up against Senate Leader Mitch McConnell's attempt to throw President Trump under the bus, right? So they're rising up and they are fighting for Trump. They are fighting for electoral integrity. This is really happening here on Capitol Hill. Now, if you don't know, a Senate Oversight Committee is holding meetings on Capitol Hill. Today was their first set of meetings. The chairman of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, Ron Johnson, he's the real deal. He's a Republican senator from Wisconsin, huge Trump supporter in the Senate. He chaired the hearing. It was unbelievable. If you go to Twitter, just put in like Ron Johnson on fire or something like that. He called out the Democrats, this particular one Senate Democrat, as just being a bunch of liars. They're absolute liars. They pushed this whole Russian collusion nonsense for 3 years, and now they've got no interest whatsoever in getting to the bottom of what happened in November. He was absolutely on fire, and he called out the Democrats for being the horrid party that they are. Josh Hawley, Senator Hawley from Missouri, he was on fire today. Senator Rand Paul, he is starting to make some serious noise here. He is stating openly that he believes this election was stolen. This is Rand Paul saying this, okay? That he believes that this election was stolen, and he is definitely considering filing an objection to the Electoral College vote on January 6th, when the Electoral College results come to Washington, D.C. for certification. Ron Johnson has also stated that he's considering filing an objection. And now we have House Republican Mo Brooks from Alabama leading the charge to do the same in the House, calling on his fellow congressional Republicans to sign on to his effort to challenge the certification of the Electoral College's vote on January 6th, calling Joe Biden's election victory. This is Mo Brooks, quote, illegitimate. Joe Biden's victory was illegitimate. Now, this is necessary to challenge the Electoral College. You have to have an objection filed and endorsed by at least one U.S. senator and one U.S. representative. And once filed and endorsed, both chambers of Congress, the Senate and the House, they have to debate this, right? I believe it's slated to be, at least constitutionally, it has to be a 2-hour debate over the merits and demerits of the objection. And the simple majority is enough to overturn the electors. Now, again, of course, it's a long shot, but then you've got Vice President Mike Pence with his pen, as it were, possibly refusing to certify the electors even after the debate. The New York Times is admitting that Pence may very well do that. He may very well refuse to certify the Electoral College votes if the election continues to be contested past January 6th. So things are absolutely heating up in Washington, D.C. Now, okay, so you've got Washington, D.C. Now let's go to Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Supreme Court decided in favor of the Trump team in ruling against Wisconsin county clerks who declared voters indefinitely confined because of COVID. Now, the key here is that if you have indefinite confinement status, okay, I mean, these are people who are in nursing homes and so forth, right? Indefinite confinement, they can't leave their residences. If you qualify for indefinite confinement status, you are allowed to bypass Wisconsin's very strict voter ID law if the voters declared confined to their residence, all right, due to their age or their physical illness or some kind of disability. What happened, again, it's only Democrats do this. What happened is you had clerks telling voters that because of COVID, all Wisconsin voters are automatically qualified for indefinite confinement status, which of course is absurd, okay? And I believe the court was unanimous in ruling that the clerks were wrong, that was illegal in telling voters that they could be automatically counted as indefinitely confined simply because of COVID. Now, given that Biden is ahead by only 20,000 votes in Wisconsin, I believe it's 19,000 actually, we'll have to see what happens as a result of this decision, but apparently we're dealing now with tens of thousands of votes. So that's going on. Trump is still trying to get to the bottom of the Trump legal team is still trying to get to the bottom of the 221,000 plus mail-in ballots that had no record of a written request. In Wisconsin, you're not allowed to vote by mail unless you actually requested through a written request a mail-in ballot. During the audit in Wisconsin, it took upwards of 10 days. The Trump legal team found 220,000 plus ballots that they claimed had no record of a written request. So they asked the Wisconsin Supreme Court to throw those ballots out. Now, the Wisconsin Supreme Court, along with the United States Supreme Court, they have signaled they don't want to do that. They may have the constitutional right to do that, but they don't want to be involved in overturning any elections. All the courts are signaling that right now, okay? They will rule on behalf of definite improprieties, procedural improprieties like we saw right? With these clerks pushing this whole indefinite confinement nonsense. They'll do that, but they are not going to overturn ballots. Okay, so that means that they're punting this right back into the state legislatures, which is fine. That's where the Trump team actually wants it. I mean, they'll take it if you get a court throwing out ballots, no problem. But they want it going back to the state legislatures. They want these dueling electors. They want that. That's actually, again, what they believe is if they can get the Congress, these Republicans in the Congress, to count the Republican electors, and that gets challenged in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to side on the side of legislators in accordance with Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution, which gives state legislatures, quote, the plenary authority to deal with the appointing of and the seating of electors and dealing with all the time, manner, and place of the election. So this is really amazing because in Wisconsin, we're dealing with thousands of votes here that the Wisconsin legislature may take the initiative this week or the next couple of weeks and say, that's it. We saw enough. If the improprieties are clearly overturning the election, then we have to reconsider the electors and reconsider sending electors on behalf of President Trump. All right. So Washington, Wisconsin. Now we're going to Michigan. Okay. This is huge because Michigan fits in with Arizona. So it's making sure we understand how all these things are fitting together. So Michigan and Arizona are like, they fit like gloves here. Okay. A Michigan judge just the other day ordered the release of a report on Antrim County and its auditing of the Dominion voting systems, voting tabulators. It was a pretty shocking audit. What happened in Antrim County? It's a small county in Michigan. And what happened is that there's 25,000 people in the county. There were 16,000 votes cast. In the first count, Trump was down by 5,000 and Biden up. Trump was down by 5,000. But then, after finding all kinds of problems with the initial count, an audit found that Trump actually had 5,000 more votes than was figured on election day, and Biden had a couple of thousand, 1,000 or 2,000 less votes. The Dominion voting system that was used created those errors. That's what the forensic auditors determined. And that represents a 60 to 68% error rate in terms of vote counting. So when you're dealing with error rates, you're not just dealing with, say, the amount of votes Trump didn't get that he should have, but you're also adding the amount of votes that Biden got that he should not have gotten. So it accumulates in that sense. And so as a result, Michigan legislature committees are diving deep into the Dominion voting system, as well as subpoenaing election evidence, hard drives, laptop emails, particularly from Detroit precincts in Wayne County. They're getting very, very serious about getting to the bottom of what happened there in Antrim County, in Wayne County, and other counties in Michigan. So keep your eyes focused on the Republican legislature in Michigan. I'm noticing the news is a bit quiet there, but there's actually a lot going on. Now, why Michigan is so important? Because it's affecting what's going on in Arizona. And what's going on in Arizona is huge. The Republicans in Arizona are absolutely rising up and taking control of the situation like no one else. And if I could put a parenthesis here, this is embarrassing for the Republicans. And let's just be blunt. This is embarrassing because all of these states that we're dealing with right now all have Republican legislatures, and all these Republican legislators failed. They failed to provide adequate oversight in this election and the election procedure and process. They farmed it out to bureaucrats. And as it turns out, they've been doing that since like the 1930s and 40s. Okay. It's one of those things. I don't know any other way of explaining it. I've certainly not heard any better explanation. It's one of those things where state legislatures took what was their responsibility and they pushed it off to secretaries of state, to various election officials and bureaucrats. And now we've got this mess that we've got. Okay. So the Republicans in Arizona look like they are ready to take that power back. And they can. That's the thing. Every single person listening to this, watching this live stream, your legislators have what the Constitution calls plenary authority over seating electors, over the entire election process. It's not the governor. It's not the Secretary of State. They'll try to dodge your question of them by saying, no, we can't do anything. Yes, you can do anything, as I understand it. That's nonsense. That's dodging the issue. That's hiding, rhetorically hiding under their desks. Yes, I can guarantee you could find dozens upon dozens of constitutional experts says, absolutely, you have that authority and you need to take it back. That's what they're doing in Arizona. So if you don't know what's going on in Arizona, the state Senate has issued subpoenas as of yesterday. Gang, subpoenas are going on all over the place in Michigan and Wisconsin, in Arizona. They are issuing subpoenas as of yesterday to inspect and audit all Dominion voting machines in Maricopa County. Now, if you don't know, Maricopa County is Arizona, okay? Maricopa County is their biggest, most massive county. It's 4.5 million people, includes Phoenix. So when we were analyzing this election, Trump was up in Maricopa County, and that's what we were saying. Oh man, he's going to run away with this election, because even in the mail-in ballots leading up to the election, he was doing really, really well in Maricopa County. And then all the other outskirt counties, those are all deep red counties, good rural folk, good MAGA folk, deplorable folk out there. So Maricopa is gigantic, 4.5 million people. What happens in Maricopa County in terms of this audit happens to Arizona, okay? It's at least six. I think it's actually 3/5 of the vote of Arizona. It's that big. Republican Senator Eddie Farnsworth, as of yesterday, he's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. As of yesterday, he issued subpoenas going after the machines. As I understand it, it was an immediate seizure, and that's going to result in a full forensic audit of what happened on November 3rd with these voting machines. And this audit is based on what happened in Antrim, Michigan, right? With that 60% failure rate. And the logic here is that if you had a 60 to 68% failure rate in terms of counting votes in a Michigan county with 25,000 people, what kind of error rate are you dealing with in a county with 4.5 million? Okay, that's the logic that's being used here. And keep in mind, Biden is only ahead in Arizona by 10,000 votes. Okay, so this audit is a total game changer here. And so I'm going to state Mark Finchem, who's an absolute patriot. He's an amazing guy. He's like the state senator Doug Mastriano, who got the Gettysburg hearings going in Pennsylvania. All right. Mark Finchem is like the Mastriano of Arizona. Okay. Or we could say Mastriano is the Finchem of Pennsylvania. So Finchem, who spearheaded the committee hearings a couple of weeks back, he announced on Steve Bannon's War Room that the election will, at the very least, be overturned. Okay? It will, at the very least, be overturned, and quite possibly, depending on the results of the forensic audit, if they can identify the actual fraudulent ballots, that would mean actually giving the election to Trump. But the forensic audit, regardless of whether they simply overturn the results, simply nullifying the results, or if they actually give the election to Trump, either way, the forensic audit is going to be the death knell in this whole thing. Okay, that's Representative Finchem's words. And so State Representative Finchem believes that the least case scenario is that the votes get decertified in Arizona. That's what you can expect to see in the next week. The audit, as I understand, is supposed to be done by next Monday, perhaps as early as Sunday, since we're up against the clock here, as it were. So keep your eye on Arizona at the very least. At the very least, he said, the election results in Arizona will be decertified. That's stunning. That'll be a first. And again, the theory we have here, Bannon's got the same here, is if one state falls, the rest fall. If one state falls, then you found, as it were, the magic sauce, as it were. You found the magic ingredient to make all the rest of the states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, all the rest will fall as well. And by the way, thank you guys so much for these super chats. I'm trying to get all this in here, but you guys are the best. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for supporting me. There's just no words. All right. Finally. So we went from DC to Wisconsin to Michigan, then to Arizona. Finally, keep your eyes on Pennsylvania and Georgia. Pennsylvania, because Judge Sam Alito still has a stay on all the votes cast after 8 p.m. on November 3rd. Remember, according to Pennsylvania law, all votes had to be in. The deadline was 8 p.m. November 3rd, Election Day. A few weeks before the election, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania said, no, that's not good enough. So they changed the law. They actually changed the date from November 3rd to November 6th. The problem with that is judges are not allowed to change the law. They're not allowed to what we call legislate from the bench. And Alito made it clear in his assessment that that's precisely what the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did. And he wants all those votes separated from the vote total. That separation, that stay on those votes means that case is alive and well. So we've got Sean Parnell and Mike Kelly's case that's challenging the constitutionality, the way Pennsylvania conducted their election. That is going to be part of this. And Trump has also just filed a new lawsuit that has that. It's called Act 77 at the heart of it as well. So keep your eye on what goes on in Pennsylvania over the next few days, and keep your eye on what's going on in Georgia, because things are about, if things are blowing up as a whole, things are blowing up micro in Georgia, right? The deplorables are absolutely on fire in Georgia. They want the governor, this feckless rhino governor Kemp, to postpone the Senate runoff until February 1st so they could get to the bottom of this Dominion voting machines. They want to use them all over again. They want to get to the bottom of this consent decree that was entered into, again, by their feckless Secretary of State with the Democratic Party at Georgia, and Stacey Abrams, that completely removed chain of custody controls and protocol for your mail-in ballots. As a matter of fact, they're expecting more mail-in ballots. I think, what was it, 1.2 million or so, 1.3 million in November 3rd. They're expecting 1.6 million on January 5th. And everyone's like, oh, what the F? How come Republicans are creating? Remember, Georgia's a totally Republican state. Why the hell are these rhino Republicans creating conditions that's just guaranteeing Democrats cheating? It's just guaranteeing it. So they've gone nuts. Deplorables have exploded in Georgia. Now, even the Senate runoff candidates, the Republican Loeffler and Perdue, they're starting to call on their legislators to step up and fight for Trump and get to the bottom of what happened with this whole consent decree and all of that. Things are blowing up in Georgia in a great way. So keep your eyes on what goes on there. And then, of course, this all circles right back to what's happening in D.C. and what will happen in January 6th. Again, I mentioned even the New York Times is writing an article that's going, we don't know what Mike Pence is going to do. Mike Pence is the president of the Senate. As vice president, he is the president of the Senate. And he has the choice whether to certify or not certify the Electoral College vote on January 6th. And even the New York Times is starting to say, you know what? He may not do it. Trump may convince her, or there may be enough hearings, or Republicans might whip themselves up into enough of a frenzy where he may refuse to do it. And then what? And again, the goal there is to get this finally kicked into the House of Representatives. If you can get this whole thing kicked into the House of Representatives, would be a Democrat nightmare, because then every state, you get delegates sent from every state legislature to vote on the president. And every state gets one vote. Every state gets one vote. And so you have 30 Republican states to 20 Democrat states, and Trump wins re-election easily. So it's amazing stuff for sure. No question about it. The winds really have shifted our way. The mainstream media is totally oblivious to it. They're living in their own world. They think we're living in our own world. We're the ones actually fighting every day. They're just eating their caviar and clicking their champagne glasses. Democrats, Republicans, center right, center left, all globalist, left-wing liberals, every one of them. The Romney Republican Party, all 5% of it, right? 95% of Republicans voted for Trump on November 3rd. They're clueless, man. The fight is really happening here, and the winds are shifting in our direction. It's really, really fascinating stuff. And I will do my best to keep you updated every step of the way. Like I said, I will be the first to tell you when things look like, gang, this isn't happening. And I'm going to be the first. I am not going to back away from that. When I see, man, that with that door shut, this thing is over, you will be we'll do a live stream. It'll be the first. I'll tell you it immediately, and we'll focus on 2022 and the massive, massive red wave, midterm red wave of 2022. That's what we're going to focus on. But right now, it's too early to say that. The winds are shifting in our direction. Subpoenas are flying everywhere. And Washington, even Washington, D.C., the Senate is actually holding hearings on election integrity right now with Rand Paul and Josh Hawley and now Mo Brooks in the House of Representatives coming out and saying, you know what, maybe we're going to challenge this on January 6th. So fascinating stuff. Thanks, Bill. Caught that one. I caught that one. Thanks, Bill. Very, very appreciated for that super chat. All right, gang. I talked enough, I think. So don't forget, you are all invited to our exclusive Q&A tomorrow night, December 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Write it down. Take your number 2 pencil. Write that down. It's for all of our Insiders Club members. You're going to have direct access to me. We have direct access to one another. And I'm going to answer your questions to help you think better so you can feel better about everything that's going on with this election in light of the rise of the conservative age. And again, it's only for Insiders members. So if you're not a part of the Insiders Club, all you need to do is just click on the link below in the pinned comment section. Join my exclusive club right now, and you're going to get your first 2 weeks absolutely free, no obligation. We want you to be there tomorrow night to ask your questions in the Q&A. You're going to absolutely love it. It is censorship free, right? So make sure to click on your link below and become an Insiders member with your first 2 weeks absolutely free. And I will see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern for our live Q&A. All right, gang, that's it for me. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you. You're the best. I don't know what I'd do without you. God bless, guys. Sleep well.